What if the world as we know it today is destined for a radical transformation? A shift so immense that it brings back an ideology many believed had faded into history. One of the most mysterious and controversial prophecies of all time comes from Baba Vanga, the blind Bulgarian mystic whose predictions have captivated the world. Among her many forecasts, one stands out as particularly shocking. Communism will make a global comeback and rule the world within the next 50 years. Could this be possible? Could history repeat itself in ways we never imagined? Or is this prediction merely an echo of the past, doomed to remain an unfulfilled vision? To understand the weight of this prophecy, we must first explore who Baba Vanga was, analyze the modern-day socio-political landscape, and ask ourselves, is this the future we are heading toward? Who was Baba Vanga? Baba Vanga was born in 1911 in Bulgaria and became famous for her uncanny predictions about the future. As a young girl, she lost her sight in a violent storm and, according to legend, gained supernatural foresight. Over the years, she made countless predictions, clinging to foresee global conflicts, political shifts, and even the rise of technology. Many of her prophecies have been eerily accurate, including the fall of the Soviet Union, the September 11 attacks, the Chernobyl disaster, the rise of China as a global superpower. While some remain skeptical of her abilities, others believe that her 85% prediction accuracy rate is undeniable. Among her most startling prophecies, however, is the return of communism on a global scale. The prophecy, a communist resurgence in the next 50 years. According to Baba Vanga, communism will rise once again and dominate the world within the next half-century. This prophecy suggests a massive ideological shift, with communist principles of state-controlled economies, wealth redistribution, and classless societies becoming the global norm. While she did not specify exactly how or where this resurgence would begin, her prediction implies that capitalism as we know it may eventually collapse, leading to a world governed by centralized authority, collective ownership, and a return to socialist ideals. But could such a shift actually happen? Could communism really make a comeback? Analyzing global trends. While many believe communism faded into history after the fall of the Soviet Union, there are several key indicators that suggest its ideology may not be entirely dead. In fact, many modern social, economic, and political factors could pave the way for a new era of communist influence. 1. Economic disparities are widening. One of the key pillars of communist ideology is the elimination of class struggle and the redistribution of wealth. In today's world, wealth inequality has reached unprecedented levels. The richest 1% of the population owns more wealth than the bottom 50% combined. In some regions, the gap between the rich and the poor is worse today than it was during the early 20th century. Rising costs of living, stagnant wages, and job automation have created frustration among many working-class individuals. As history has shown, when economic disparity becomes unbearable, revolutions and ideological shifts are often not far behind. 2. The rise of populist and socialist movements. Across the world, left-wing movements advocating for wealth redistribution, social programs, and state control of industries are gaining momentum. While many of these movements do not explicitly identify as communist, their principles reflect similar ideologies. In some countries, governments have begun nationalizing industries, taking control of private enterprises in the name of the public good. Calls for universal health care, higher minimum wages, and free education have become mainstream in many nations. Younger generations, particularly millennials and Gen Z, view socialist policies more favorably than previous generations. If these trends continue, they could pave the way for a more collectivist, centralized global system, one that closely resembles Baba Vanga's prophecy. 3. Political shifts and global tensions. Baba Vanga's prophecy also hinted that the world will experience political instability before communism returns. Geopolitical conflicts, economic recessions, and failing governments have already triggered major shifts in global power. Nations that once embraced capitalism and democracy are now experimenting with centralized control and state-run industries. The idea of a one-world government has been debated in academic and political circles, with some arguing that global unity is necessary to solve issues like climate change and pandemics. Could these be early warning signs of a worldwide shift towards a new form of communism? Historical patterns. Does the cycle repeat itself? Throughout history, political ideologies have risen and fallen in cycles, often shaped by economic struggles, social unrest, and global conflicts. The early 20th century saw the dramatic rise of communism, beginning with the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia in 1917. This movement rapidly spread, influencing the establishment of communist regimes in China, Cuba, Eastern Europe, and beyond. Fueled by promises of equality and classless society, communism seemed unstoppable. The late 20th century, however, marked a turning point. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 signified the end of an era, and many former communist nations transitioned toward capitalism and democracy. With the fall of the Berlin Wall and the rise of free markets, many believed communism had faded into history. Now, in the 21st century, a growing number of people are expressing disillusionment with capitalism. Widening wealth gaps, economic instability, and social unrest have reignited debates about collectivism, wealth redistribution, and government control. If Baba Vanga's prediction holds true, we may be on the verge of another great ideological shift. Skepticism. Could this just be a misinterpretation? While many believe in Baba Vanga's prophecy, others remain skeptical. 1. Unclear wording and lack of documentation. Many of Baba Vanga's predictions were not written down directly but were passed down orally. Some claim that this has led to misinterpretations and exaggerations over time. 2. Economic evolution versus revolution. Some argue that rather than a full-scale return to communism, the world may simply adopt hybrid economic models, blending capitalism with socialist policies, rather than fully embracing communism. 3. Changing societal values. Unlike the early 20th century, today's world is highly interconnected and technologically advanced. Some believe that a complete shift to communism is unlikely, as many people value personal freedoms, private enterprise, and open markets. But even with skepticism, the signs of global change cannot be ignored. Final thoughts. Is the future already written? Baba Vanga's prediction of a world ruled by communism in the next 50 years raises fascinating questions about the direction of human civilization. Is capitalism on the decline? Will economic inequality force a shift towards collectivism? Are we already witnessing the early stages of this transformation? Only time will tell if her prophecy will come true, or if it will remain a chilling warning of what could have been. Do you believe that communism could return in the next 50 years? Have you noticed signs of economic or political shifts in your own country? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Baba Vanga's mysterious prophecies, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible insights into the mysteries of the future.